Death Trap. What a basic ass movie. Now, it is super interesting. The plot is an author being jealous of his playwright, so he kills this guy to steal his play. What? This was not foreshadowed or mentioned or hinted at all. What a twist. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It throws you off guard so much. Uh, but the movie still sucks monkey butt. There's a character that's just there, except for the second plot twist, which reveals that the whole movie was just a play, which I think is kind of cool. 2.5 out of 5. Deer Hunter. What was the story? Like, well, I know what the story was, but what did I watch? We had like a 45-minute wedding. They go deer hunting for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes in Vietnam, back home, reunion, blah, blah. And then he goes deer hunting, and then, wait, well, no, never mind. It's over. Don't forget to sprinkle in the Russian roulette scenes, which truthfully are the best parts of the movie, since those are the only scenes where it feels like there's a sense of danger and conflict. One thing I will credit this movie is there's a lot of beautiful distance shots. Many of the shots of nature and the movie sets were just very nice to look at. The story, though, I didn't really enjoy the 3 hours of nonsense. 3 out of 5. Demolition Man. I present to you possibly the greatest prediction of all time.
The Schwarzenegger Library?
Yes, the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library. Wasn't he an actor when you...
Stop. He was president?
Yes. Even though he was not born in this country, his popularity at the time caused the 61st Amendment, which states that...
I don't want to know.
Well, technically, that itself didn't happen, but 10 years later, Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor of California, which, that's just wicked, honestly. That's a lot of the movie. Some pretty realistic predictions of the future, but I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm here for the movie. And if I'm being honest, a very generic 90s action movie. It starts off really strong, and it ends pretty strong, but most of the middle is just, Another thing that I noticed is that I feel like they barely touched on the underground revolutionists until really late in the movie, but after they establish it, that plot line flows a bit nicer. Overall, if you enjoy dumb action, it's probably worth watching once, because it was a really fun watch, but it falls behind some of the better action movies that I've seen. 3 out of 5. Dracula. Besides Nosferatu and probably some Scooby-Doo movies, and obviously Conker's Bad Fur Day, I haven't seen a ton of Dracula stuff, but I feel like I know a lot about vampires. With that being said, Dracula is not at all what I expected. I'm talking plot. I always thought people went to Dracula's castle and they succumbed to his blood-sucking power, but he actually goes to another country and takes his prey. Also, I always thought that Dracula did all the killing when he really just hypnotizes his victims, who then does the killing. It just threw me off is all. Anyways, it wasn't bad, but it really wasn't that good either. Bela Lugosi was great, and the set designs were great. Besides being the Dracula movie that really put the character in pop culture status, the movie itself is just for me. 3 out of 5. The Devil Bat. Do you think Bela Lugosi ever got tired of being in bat-themed movies? And with that point, do you ever think he got sick of this wretched noise? Other than that, the movie itself was, well, it wasn't half bad. I loved when Bela Lugosi would very creepily say goodbye to his victims. Pretty eerie. Lugosi himself had a great performance, but that's the best thing I have to say about it. It's a very basic movie. I mean, it is 68 minutes long. It was still enjoyable. Enjoyable because it was super, super cheesy, but really nothing too crazy. 3 out of 5. Double Jeopardy. A solid little chase movie that is pretty similar to The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. In fact, even Tommy Lee Jones is in it, chasing the fugitive. I think the beginning is really rushed. Like we go from the introduction to characters to the boat scene, and then we go to prison, and that's all in like 20 minutes or so. I personally feel like if the movie started off with her already in prison, and then we have to figure out through flashbacks, it would be a little bit better. The reason I say this is that I feel like we kind of skim past the fact that she was in prison. Prison's a pretty big deal, and she states herself that her husband ruined her life. We, the audience, should also see that. I do love the premise. It's basically a husband faking his death, and his wife gets framed for it. It's fun, there's some action, some drama, and a sweet ending that kind of wraps everything up. One big thing I was thinking the whole time, she wants to kill her husband for the thing that he did to her. Well, with the double jeopardy law thingy, well, she can kill him and she can't get charged twice for the same crime. That's fair. Well, throughout the movie, she does so many different crimes and we just kind of ignore all of that. It's just not entirely realistic, and sometimes it removes you from believing in the story. Overall, not bad, but I rather watch The Fugitive. 3 out of 5. Dr. Giggles. The actor who plays Dr. Giggles just carries this movie. The whole movie, his character just says one-liners with almost no true dialogue, and it's honestly the best thing ever. It almost feels like they made a story based around the character, because the plot in the script is not great at all. But hey, you know what? That's okay, because it was fun, and sometimes you need a no-thinking movie. The deaths were cool, the one-liners were fun, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters, if you had fun. 3.5 out of 5. Driven. This movie is incredibly 2000s. The amount of fades and close-ups make this movie so unbelievably dated. The editing sucks too. It's like you don't have time to see characters' motivations. Not like I want to see the motivations, because besides Sylvester and I would say Burt Reynolds, but he's barely in the movie, everyone else is just, they're just not that good of actors. Don't get me started on the unnecessary CGI. It's not that bad, but when it's used, it throws you off and just, driven me to boredom. That's what this movie did. 1.5 out of 5. Elektra. Fun fact, this is the lowest rated movie I have in my collection, tied with Dumb and Dumberer, which I enjoy actually, but I can't help agree with the fact that Elektra is nothing. It is a nothing, nonsensical movie. 1 out of 5. El Cid. A medieval drama with pretty cool fight scenes, especially the joust fight, but it's way too long, 3 hours, and within those 3 hours, I had no idea what was going on. By the time one scene went to the other, I already lost track of what plot I was watching. It just wasn't my thing. I'm going to sound like a douche, mainly towards people who love this movie, but I'd rather watch Army of Darkness. I think the reason El Cid wasn't very fun for me, medievals and dramas just don't click for me. I need that little bit of sci-fi-ness. 2.5 out of 5. End of Days. I always thought these type of movies were always fun, just for the simple fact that when you think of the Bible, you think of Moses, Jerusalem, Rome, and of course God, and the devil. And then those movies take that idea and specifically have the devil take over the world or a person. Well, now take whatever that movie was and add Arnold Schwarzenegger and him shooting a grenade launcher at the devil. Okay, it's not as cool as it sounds, but it's still a decent thriller movie, even if it is blasphemous as hell. 3 out of 5. Eye for an Eye. Oof, that whole beginning was just soul-crushing. A bit like Cape Fear. A terrifying scene of just murder and rape. It made my stomach drop, and truthfully, this movie does a great job in doing that. There's parts in this movie that made me tear up just for the fact that they made the family aspect of this feel very, very real. The idea of Sally Field's character cracking was just done very well. And one thing I noticed is that in the beginning, there's a moth that scares the youngest child. Well, notice how she lets the bug go? Throughout this whole movie, she slowly cracks and ends up giving up that innocent way of thinking and then killing the killer. It's a good contrast of character. The actor who played the murderer was just terrifying and also really disgusting. which made you hate him even more. I thought the ending was rushed. We're building up to this revenge plot for almost an hour and 20 minutes, and I just wish there was kind of more. This one, shower, fall down the stairs, couple bullet wounds, and a movie. I also wish they made some more screen time of the husband reconnecting with his wife. They had a whole fight earlier in the movie, and we don't really get to see a proper resolution to that. 3 out of 5. Eyes Wide Shut. To be perfectly honest, I don't get it. I wouldn't say I disliked the movie, even though it was Tom Cruise walking around for 2 hours doing a Patrick Bateman impression. I love the piano in the background, the music was great, it was bizarre, and I mean bizarre. Things happened for no apparent reason. The reason I say that is that this is Mr. Kubrick, the man who directed Clockwork Orange, one of my favorite movies, so I know things were done for a reason. So for the first time, I'm going to watch an explanation video. So this review will have 2 parts. The first half that you just listened to me was me before watching or reading anything. Second half is to see if I change my opinion. Alright, I've been down a rabbit hole of articles and videos for about an hour, and I definitely get it. It's about a lot of things, and the way you interpret it can even change on different watches. That's one thing I really love about it. I love movies that make you think, and the movie is about jealousy and the social class and relationships, and has undertones of trafficking. There's just a lot to unpack here, but unfortunately for my case, I'm not there yet. I think in a couple months I'll give it a rewatch, because as I said, I didn't hate it. I did enjoy it, but I'm in that area where I can't really give it a better score. So as for this time, I'm going to go with 3.5 out of 5. Face Off. A really interesting and fun idea that is collectively the dumbest idea ever. You want to switch faces? No, not with rubber. You want to physically, with lasers, cut your face off. What kind of logic is that? But for the first half of the movie, it's pretty entertaining, even if both lead actors are pretty bad at acting. The second half, I was kind of ready for it to be over. The idea worn itself out. 3 out of 5. There you have it. Bunny month is over. For anyone following along, technically there were some Dirty Harry movies that I need to watch, but I've seen the first one, and the second one being Magnum Force, I'm going to wait till I get to the M's to get to that. It's a bit hard to watch each movie since I like watching sequels chronologically, so it's easier if I just wait. Also, next month, May 27th is the exact day. There's going to be a fun little Smokey and the Bandit review of all 7 movies, and stay tuned for that.